What is the one source of strength that we can always count on, no matter how tough times may seem or how alone we feel? For countless people throughout history, both famous and ordinary, the answer has always been the same: God. His strength arises from within us during our lowest moments and empowers us to continue putting one foot in front of the other even when all seems lost. While the problems and pressures of this world constantly change form, God remains an immutable wellspring of courage that we can tap into regardless of external circumstances. His strength stands independent of any material or earthly force, yet permeates deep into our souls when we open our hearts to Him. There is no power in heaven or on earth that can overcome someone who draws their vitality from God. No challenge, however daunting, is too great when faced with His backing. Trials that would crush a person relying solely on their own fortitude are smoothly navigated by those who recognize the impenetrable well of resilience available through communing with the divine. God fills us with a patience, wisdom, and peace that transcends all understanding. With Him at our core, setbacks transform into stepping stones and sorrows become allies that strengthen our character. His strength gives us solace in loneliness and empowerment when others have tried to diminish our light. Rather than feel weak in the face of hardships, we can experience empowerment by embracing God as the true source of our abilities. Every breath we take is a testament to His phenomenal power flowing through mortal vessels of flesh. The resilience to persevere arises from aligning our will with His, recognizing that even in moments of greatest suffering, there are blessings to be found and purpose to be served. While relying on our limited capabilities can leave us worn down, trusting in God's unlimited force regenerates our spirit. No rock can be left unturned, no challenge too steep when the hand of the Eternal lifts and guides us. His fortitude awakens courage where there was once only fear and transforms ordinary men and women into giants. How many individuals have accomplished extraordinary feats, showed remarkable acts of mercy, or withstood unspeakable torture, yet maintained an unshakable inner peace due to their close bond with God? History is filled with changed hearts and social transformations wrought by seemingly common figures who drew strength far beyond their station through devout faith. Visionaries like Gandhi and King, who mobilized masses with messages of love in the face of violence. Aid workers who courageously serve in the most dangerous regions of conflict while escaping harm. Everyday souls who survive tragedies that would crush many and go on to comfort others in their mourning. All of them understood, in their essence, that true might comes not from elevated social standing or bulging bank accounts, but from an indomitable soul fused with the eternal. Each small kindness shown to another, each act of service carrying us outside selfish concerns, feeds the reserves of fortitude bestowed by God. As we give grace freely without demands for reciprocity or tribute, His empowerment replenishes within us infinitely. The strength of infinity resides in all who make themselves vessels of the divine and allow Him to work through their hands. No obstacle halts such a person for long, as with each step they leave the material world further behind and walk firmly in spiritual reality. Rejection and scorn bounce harmlessly off that polished soul, while every positive deed multiplies benefits many times over. Their light illumines the path for others while staying rooted in the only benchmark that matters: faithfulness to God, who provides all things necessary for their journey. The difficulties that frequently accompany an elevated commitment to goodness and truth pale in comparison to the reward of hosting God's energy. His indwelling lifts all burdens and shields the determined spirit from harm. What appear as limitations lose power over one who lives from this essence, flowing as they do with divine vitality that laughs at borders and bandages every perceived wound with unconditional love. Their days overflow with meaning despite darkness, and their nights carry rest that no crisis can disturb. While the temporary triumphs and defeats that characterize mortal existence affect them not at all, the eternal victory of fulfilling God's purpose fills them with triumph that decades of earthly pleasures could not contain. And in sacrificing all claim to self for His greater glory, they attain a selfhood far above any crown. To base one's well-being on the transient is to build a foundation that cannot endure the vagaries of time. Only God is changeless, all-pervading and eternally nourishing to the soul that nestles in His care. Anchoring our essence to Him removes the distress of relying on faulty or failing things. All else may dissolve or disappoint, but communion with the divine infuses a courage and conviction able to withstand any storm. His empowerment does not ebb with drained bank accounts, fractured relationships, or declining health, for it originates from outside the wheel of fortune, spinning beyond our control. No worldly success compares to the wealth of resting in His sustaining hands, dependent on no one and nothing, anchored to the only real truth there is. Our worth then ceases to depend on the fleeting measures of this life and finds stability in qualities transcending time: compassion, wisdom, justice, love. Where does true sustenance come from in the deepest place? Only from tapping into the infinite source of all that was, is, and will ever be, God. He overflows with vitality to nourish exhausted souls, heal wounded minds, and tend neglected spirits. In that divine stream we find renewal, revival, and strength incomparable by worldly criteria each new day. His fuel energizes creativity where there was once stuck inertia. It lights purposeful, principle-based action to uplift lives where lethargy and negativity prevailed before. With that power enlivening our core, no goal seems too audacious if it uplifts others, no dream beyond reach if it serves the greater good. Difficulty, danger, and delay all melt away when our impulse originates from a mind and heart in accord with the eternal will. Those who pursue such existence discover bliss and meaning that can never expire, leaving footsteps of awakening for generations to follow. In God is empowerment for far more than withstanding affliction or overcoming obstacles, considerable as those feats are. His might animates a positivity and love that spills over to better the world of all it touches. One who lives with that as their generator finds deep fulfillment in lighting another's path, even at the cost of slowing their own stride. Service to all humanity becomes their religion, and upliftment of the downtrodden their priority, while depending on no reward or recognition for kind acts. Their life epitomizes the principle that we were placed on this earth not to be served by others, but to serve them and contribute to the greater harmony. Such individuals spread hope and goodwill wherever they wander, while remaining serene as the unmoving ocean within. Calm and compassionate, they influence countless souls with wisdom exceeding mortal means, yet delivered simply as a vessel for the divine. Anyone can access the resilience that arises from fusing one's being with God, regardless of background or abilities. All it requires is shifting our core away from a foundation on fallible people or possessions and centering instead on the only absolute there is. That choice begins by nurturing humble gratitude for each new dawn, small blessings often overlooked, and life's lessons, however difficult. It involves releasing obsession for material gains in favor of enriching lives with empathy, justice, and service. And it means substituting temporary expediencies for courage born of conscience, unshakable truth, and accord with the eternal wellspring of rightness. As we recalibrate to that higher orientation, divine vitality streams into our every act, however ordinary, statement, or thought. And before we know it, we begin to rise as the best of who we are meant to be. So in every step, let the divine guide your walk. In every deed, let it steer your hand. In each word, let it sweeten your breath. And in every moment, let it lift your heart. For in that alignment resides joy that survives all worldly vicissitudes, strength able to withstand any adversity, and light conquering even civilization's darkest hours. Whether facing triumphs or tragedies, allow God's sustenance to nurture your essence and His guidance to show the way. With His empowerment within, difficulties dissolve to opportunities of awakening. Duty transforms into passion, and living ceases being mere animation of flesh. Instead, it becomes sacred purpose fulfilled through mortal vessels. Such is the peace, the unstoppable drive and indomitable spirit awakened by letting His hand lead instead of the shallow rewards of ego. This is the blessing of centering our existence on that eternal well from which cascades empowerment to uplift all creation.